Gee, I've showed this sign before. Well, it's Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024, about 11 o'clock in the morning. And Flapjack and I are getting ready to head up the road to West Side to meet with the guys. So we'll take you along a little bit on the ride here. And I'll be back with you as soon as we get a little further up here and I get something to show you. Beautiful day for travel. Weather should be nice. Back in a little bit. The road coming into the west side's got this real slow, bumpy, rocky stretch here. It's certainly not anything that you can't drive, but it definitely is something that you want to go pretty slow. You just gotta kind of ease your way through and ease your way over it. Doesn't really require four-wheel drive. Probably even in bad weather. I don't think it'd ever get muddy, but you can tell by the rocks that you just got to drive super duper slow. It's only about 100 yards of this, but we like to joke that keeps all the little low-slung cars and the riffraff out, because most people aren't going to even take a chance on driving over this. But it's not a big deal. We do it quite frequently. And let me put this out the window here. Maybe you can get even a better look. Well, that's the real rough stretch, so we're past that, and we got to turn off on a little side road up here pretty quick. So I'll get back with you when we get to camp. As you can see, it's a beautiful day up here. Temperature probably in the 60s. Back in a little bit. Well, I made it to camp, and I'm set up over there. If I have one complaint about this place is it's hard to find a level spot, and that's about as level as I can get. But Paul's here, his tent and his truck are over there, and pan back around slowly. Wayne's over there sitting in the shade. That's Paul sitting on the ice chest. And that's Wayne's Jeep. There's Kevin's tent. Kevin had to make a run back home to meet with a garage door guy. Unfortunately, this place is close enough. It's not a big deal to do that. So he'll be back in a little bit. So old Flapper here, he's a Flapjack. Can you say hi to your people? Your people want to say hi. Hey, say hi. Just way too many things to sniff, so he's not in a sociable mood, I guess. But anyway, we're up here. It's a little cooler than I thought it would be. I had to put a shirt on. Before I just had a t-shirt on, but they said it got kind of chilly last night, so I'll probably go ahead and put my sleeping bag in my bed, and that way I'll know I'll sleep warm. But anyway, I'll get back with you a little bit later, and we'll see what happens. They said they didn't have a whole lot happen last night. It's pretty quiet. So we'll see what happens tonight. Once more, I'll give you just a nice slow pan. This is the driveway coming in here. And like I say, there's Wayne's setup. Wayne's got a trailer, but a lot of times when he's just going to be a couple nights, he'll bring his little flatbed and he'll set up the easy up over top of it and put his cot right on the flatbed to get it off the ground. And of course, that's his Jeep there. And that's Kevin's little tent. He didn't bring his big tent this time. Over there where the chairs are, that's where we sit out at. And like I say, there I am. And there's Paul's setup over there. So, be back again when I got something to tell you about. There we got a YouTuber filming a YouTuber who's filming a YouTube video.
YouTubers and YouTubers.
Yeah, WeTubers and YouTubers. And let me show you this here. See that pine tree leaning up against the fork of that big oak tree? Well, folks, it got there somehow, and there's no stump under it. And we find those things quite often. This is actually the next day from the last segment I filmed on this, so figured I'd give you a quick update, probably close out the video. Kevin and I went for we're actually out on a pretty nice walk. Camp is actually over that way, maybe 300 yards or so. Can't quite see it from here. But Kevin and I both decided to shoot videos while we're up here, and beautiful day. It was fairly cold last night. I actually slept pretty good. Apparently some young ones were playing tricks on Kevin. He was in his tent. Our sleeping arrangements are all spread out. We're not all together. And so they were kind of messing with him, stomping their feet and wiggling his tent and that kind of stuff during the night. At one point I thought maybe that my van had been rocked, but I'm not 100% sure of that. That could have been my imagination, but it wasn't real severe. But I actually slept pretty good for the first night out. But last evening, or last afternoon, yesterday afternoon, we were sitting out, and I saw a ways back, I saw what I thought was a tree peeker lean out from behind a tree and take a quick peek at me, and he did it once, and so we went over there and did a recreation, and it would have been a little bit shorter than Kevin, probably a juvenile. And well, a couple hours later, looking kind of in the same general area over there, Paul thought he saw one too. So we went and did a recreation on that one as well. And the descriptions matched, so it was probably the same one, and it was probably a juvie. So that was Paul's first sighting, and it was far enough away so, you know, you can't really hang your hat on it, but definitely something stuck his head out and looked at us, and there ain't a whole lot else up here that would do that we couldn't find. When Paul saw his, I started walking over there right away because I was hoping maybe I'd catch it, but I didn't. But had another little interesting thing happen, and those of you that watched my last video, let me get over here in some shade. Those of you that watched my last video, I talked about working with a lady from Canada who had him on her property, and we're kind of walking her through the process while talking to her on the phone. Well, it did the same thing yesterday afternoon. Shortly after I got here, I've been working back and forth with a lady from upstate New York in the northern end of the Adirondack Mountains, and she doesn't have it at her house, but she has a spot that she goes to, and she's pretty sure she knows the family group that's there. And so I told her if she had good cell service when she was at her spot to go ahead and give me a call. So she did. So I'm sitting up here on the mountain, and I'm talking to her, and she's at her spot in New York. And so we tried the same thing I tried with the lady a couple nights ago, and by golly, it worked again. You know, I asked her when she walked over to, there's a special tree in there where she's leaving treats, and she called it the juvie tree because the one that's there, now she's seen a juvenile. And she says he's about between 5 and 6 feet tall, and he's a cement gray in color from head to toe. And but anyway, she walked over by the juvie tree, and I asked her if she was feeling a buzzy feeling in her head. She said she was. So we started asking them questions out loud, and it worked out pretty good. We did the whole thing, you know, can you give me a number? How many of them are here? And she got one, which is pretty unusual. And usually we find they have more than one, and they usually hang out in groups. But anyway, the number she got back was one. And so then we asked about a name, and the name she was given was Jackson. And once again, that's probably not his real name. That's probably just a name he picked as a nickname, probably because he likes it somewhere. And but anyway, we asked if he was the one that's been visiting with her, and kind of got an acknowledgement on that. And then I asked him how old he was, and he told us he was 9. Well, that's a pretty, you know, we don't know what rate they actually grow at, but if he's actually 9, he's a pretty big boy for 9, because she actually saw him. And but we don't know that for sure. Once again, we don't have any idea how fast they grow, although I will say that we have one over here whose name is Rarin, and Kevin first got a chance to get a visualization on Rarin when he was still an infant, and so Rarin's probably 7 years old now, and Rarin is probably at least 4 foot tall at 7 years old, maybe a little more than that, because we've seen him. But anyway, that's kind of the highlights of the day. I slept pretty good last night. It didn't get quite as cold as we thought it was gonna. And so anyway, I'm gonna do a wrap on this video. I'm gonna take you over here. I got to walk around a log here. Kevin's able to upload videos from here with his new phone, but my new phone isn't quite fancy enough for that. Or my phone's old. I've had it for several years. But now I'm all antsy about using his. But Paul came up here and he walked up here earlier, and Paul left this right there on the stump to see if he can get him to take it. And it's been there for over 24 hours now, and they haven't taken it yet. So we don't know whether they will or not. We come up here and check it every morning. But Kevin and I went for a pretty nice long walk, probably, well, I don't know, a mile or better, a mile and a half. Made a big circle around the end of the point where we're standing, and then cut cross country to go back to camp. So we're heading back to camp. I didn't get a nap yesterday, so I'm going to be sure and try to get a nap today. So I guess with that, I'll tell you, as I always do, take care of each other and love each other, and give you a quick pan around where we're at so you can see what everything looks like. This is pretty country. There's something about this hilltop, and there's something about that oak tree over there that has the pine tree leaning against it. We don't know what it is, but there's something about it, and when Kevin and I both got within about 50 feet of it, we could feel it. So maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. But anyway, that's a full pan around, and Flapjack he's probably going to take a nap when he gets back and spin you around one more time. So I think that's my report for now. I'm going to wrap that video, and I'll be back again with another one. I don't know if I'll do one before I leave. I might do a recap after I get home tomorrow, because I can only stay for 2 nights. I have to go home tomorrow morning because I got some doctor stuff I got to deal with. So I guess with that, let me, I don't know where Kevin's at. He's around here somewhere. And give you a look at that big old manzanita bush. If you haven't seen manzanita before, you can always identify it with that red bark on it. And for right now, I'll just tell you, peace out.